Hey guys, happy Saturday. I hope you're all well. Things are doing fine here, and as usual, I am here to present you another piece of video game fan art. Today we are starting off with The Last of Us fan art. I was almost going to say The Last of Us 2, but that's not out yet, and I don't know how I feel about that given the spoilers I've learned. So, we are going to do video game fan art of The Last of Us. If you know me and you've read any of my writings, or you know me as a person, then you know that I resonate very well with characters of grumpy old men. So, our good friend Joel over here is definitely someone that speaks to my heart. He is pretty much straight out of at least two of my stories that I've written, and I just love his arc so much in this game. It kills me. I love him so much as a character. I just had to draw him. So I decided, knowing what I know of The Last of Us 2, I wanted to give him something happy to look forward to. He needs some happiness in his life before whatever events may happen in the sequel. So I know in The Last of Us, he had told Ellie at one point that the thing he misses most about the pre-apocalypse or before the infection or whatever it was, I can't remember, that set their world on fire essentially, is that he misses coffee. That is something else I can very much relate to. If you want to get, on my good side, if you want to get to my heart, you bring me some coffee and you're my new best friend. So I wanted to do a simple scene with Ellie and Joel. Maybe they found a little cafe somewhere that had a few, packets of coffee or like a bag of coffee or even just like a few tablespoons of coffee that he was able to like scrounge up and get some water and make himself a final cup before the sequel occurs. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up as I go here. They're at a cafe and they're drinking coffee so he can have a moment of peace. I was actually really excited to do this, and despite the fact that you saw me literally drawing Joel's hands probably 20 times, that made me absolutely crazy. I could not get them right to save my life, and I thought that I was going to have a little bit of a breakdown before Anthony helped me and posed for me as my model. So I figured they're sitting at like the counter that faces out the window. The window's most likely broken out by this point. There's a little bit of a chaotic scene behind them, but what I really wanted was just kind of convey their personalities. So Ellie, she's got her nice rounded face, she's got her like reddish brown hair, and she's kind of just got her arm over the back of the chair. She's gazing out at whatever has her attention. I don't know. Joel, on the other hand, he is more of a. I kind of wanted him to be looking as tired as he most likely is. His shoulders are kind of burdened, he's kind of hunched forward, he's really just kind of wanting to enjoy his coffee and ignore the kid next to him. They're probably still at that stage of their relationship. But with a guy that has been through as much as he has, he just wants his coffee, but he looks worn down by the world. So I really enjoyed kind of playing with this a bit, and I didn't know how I was going to finish it. The only thing I knew was I wanted to draw it, so I drew it, and at first it wasn't even going to be on the page that I finished it on. It didn't look exactly like them originally, because I had planned on redrawing it into a larger piece of watercolor paper. After doing my 31 days of watercolor video, I'd want to try more watercolor. But that didn't end up happening because I really liked my sketch eventually, and the more that I looked at it, the more I changed it to look like Ellie and Joel, the happier I was with it. I didn't want to redraw it. I did trace it. I traced it twice. I traced it onto more multimedia paper, so I would always have a sketch to go back to if I wanted. And I tried to trace it onto watercolor paper, like a smaller size, but the watercolor paper was so thick that I couldn't get much detail on it, which could have been okay. I probably could have worked with it, but the sketch was too pretty. I wanted to do something with the sketch, to be honest with you. So I had this beautiful sketch on a giant piece of paper, and I had no idea what to do with it. It was on multimedia paper, and I knew how that paper handled watercolor. So I'm thinking to myself, do I finish it in pencil? Do I finish it in, do I chance it and just do the watercolor? Like, what do I do? I asked so many people for help, it drove me crazy. Like, I asked my friends, I complained to my mom, I was telling everybody that would listen that I would ruin it, and I was scared to ruin it because I really didn't want to ruin it. I loved it too much, and eventually I mean, I stalled for like 2 days doing this, by the way. Eventually, I just sat down and made myself do it. I decided I was gonna put at least some watercolor washes down for basic coloring and then go over it with colored pencils. I don't have the patience to do a straight colored pencil, drawing. It just takes so long to build up the layers. I would go crazy. So I wanted to try watercolor, I wanted to try colored pencils. Why not try them both? I don't know what that noise was. So basically, it ended up way better than I thought it would ever look. I tried new things. I tried layering the watercolors, like different colors of watercolor on top of each other. I've always done watercolor, like building stronger colors using like yellow on yellow, things like that. But Ellie looked the same originally. I incorrectly mixed her skin tone, so Ellie looked like the background. She was too yellow. So I added some purple, I added some pink. I played with layering that on top of the yellow and was really impressed with how the different values started coming out and what I was able to kind of pull forward. And when I started putting colored pencils down on top of that, it got even better. She went, or actually both of them went, from being very washed out, pale looking figures to popping against that very washed out background, which was exactly what I wanted. I want your focus to first and foremost be on the characters. I want you to look at them, and then, okay, if you glance at the background after, that's fine. But I wanted the focus to be Ellie and Joel. And that was something that I did play a lot with. I almost inked this, just black and white markers. I was so close to just inking it the way I do my Resident Evil drawings, but I held back for the simple reason that Resident Evil is always very dark. The games themselves are they usually take place at night, I believe, so the games are very dark. You're running around by flashlight or thunder and lightning or whatever. So it was, in my mind, it's easier to do black and white with that kind of atmosphere. The Last of Us, I remember being very earthy toned. It's almost like nature's essentially coming in and reclaiming everything. Like, you have the infected people, you have some cities and stuff, you have quarantine areas, you do have that, but I remember specific scenes where it was very earthy, lots of yellows and browns and greens. I wanted to bring that into this picture. I wanted that to stand out from the Resident Evil pictures. So I wanted the background to be very faded and washed out with lots of yellows and greens and browns. And I wanted them to kind of pop out from that. So I really had a lot of fun kind of experimenting with that as well. Now, I will say this poor paper took a lot of punishment, but I mean, for what it's worth, I'm very happy with how it performed considering how much water I ended up putting on this. And yeah, at the very end, you are going to see a couple pieces of tape holding that down to another page because it keeps folding up now. It's no longer going to lie flat. But it's okay. I mean, I'm very happy with what I achieved, and I'm really happy that I was able to break the oh my god, I'm gonna mess it up mentality and push myself to do something new, to try new techniques and a new style that I would like to continue trying. I think it could be very successful if I keep up with it, if I keep trying to layer and practice with my watercolors. I think that, maybe this will be fun to try again at a later time. So, that said, thank you so much for watching the video with me. If you want to see more content like this, definitely subscribe because I have more ideas in the future that are very similar. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're excited for The Last of Us 2, definitely give it a thumbs up and give me a comment letting me know what you're looking forward to most. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I'll see you next week.